It's until 3 o'clock in the morning, but it will not last here through 3 in the morning, most likely. I think it's going to be, the threat's probably going to be over in most areas of, at least our viewing area in northwest Alabama, around midnight tonight. So as we take a look, we've got a line of storms coming in. The thing about it is this is becoming a fully formed complex of storms. Unlike the ones we had earlier, those were clusters of thunderstorms, the beginning stages of a mesoscale convective system or complex. This is going to be fully formed most likely as it reaches northwest Alabama. Therefore, I want to bring to your attention the potential, and the Weather Service also stressing this, for wind gusts over 70 miles per hour with this line of storms if it becomes fully formed and mature as it moves in. And then the big question is, how far east will these storms be severe? Right now, I think it's going to be at least I-65 because they're going to run into that rain-cooled boundary. So here's the latest storm track I have. The Central Heights area, Cherokee, Gravelly Springs, Cherokee around 847. And then we're looking at Central Heights, probably close to 854. Florence, 902. Tuscumbia, Sheffield, Hodges, Muscle Shoals, and St. Florian around 904 as well. So storms packing a punch. They have a history of producing damaging winds. Let's see the latest from the National Weather Service office. So we've got, they've just issued a tornado warning for Benton and Marshall County in Mississippi. That's farther to the west. So we're going to get to this and we'll time it out for you a little bit more in a second. But that's actually back here just off to the northwest. And again, they've got this tornado warning out for the Holly Springs area. Let's take, it's going to be too far away from GWX to look at the velocity signature on it. But boy, there's a lot of wind in this storm here. Just west of Baldwin. Put that into motion. And notice how this is kind of diving a little bit more east-southeast. So at some point in time, this entire area of thunderstorms is going to likely take, as it crosses, it's going to take this right turn. So that's what we're going to be waiting for. And that's why the watch does not include areas east of Limestone and Morgan County. And I'll show you the watch here in just a second. But very impressive velocity, very high wind coming in with this storm. It's moving east, this line, it's moving east-southeast at about 55, maybe 60 miles per hour. So this is the kind of storm that may actually gain momentum as it moves east-southeast. I'm going to get me some water. I guess all my water's gone that I had earlier today. Oh, here's some left. And they got a report of some rotation. Okay, this coming out of from Wolf Chase. I don't know where this is. This is a whole row of power lines down near the Kroger across from Wolf Chase at 9025 Highway 64. That's back in Mississippi. So we're getting power lines down with this line of storms coming in. I'll get back over here to Facebook real quick. Watching from Huntsville, watching from Jupiter. I mean, Huntsville, I think you're going to be okay. It is going to start to weaken a bit as it moves east, and I'll show you the data in a second. Yeah, and when I go over the SPC data, I'll go over this. They've kind of broke up the enhanced risks in a couple of areas. The thing about northeast Alabama is the airs, it did warm up, but I mean, we've got basically the instability. Let me move this around a little bit more. The instability kind of drops as you get right in here. And the model guidance will kind of show you the flavor of that too. So let's go forward and see what other graphic I've got. I think I've got the storm timeline. We're roughly looking at 8 to midnight, and then 10 p.m. to midnight. And the reason I've got midnight and midnight is because I really think the threat for severe weather will end at midnight in northeast Alabama, if it even makes it there at all. So here's the watch through 3 o'clock in the morning. Keep in mind this watch goes all the way down to the south, and that's where the 3 o'clock in the morning. They always put out the watch expiration time at the end of the watch, at the end of where they think the storms are going to be at 3 o'clock in the morning. And it will not be here. So here's a look as we go kind of back in time. 6:30, 7 o'clock, 7. Let's see how good this is doing. It's, you know what? I can actually go in and readjust this. So I'm going to grab this, and we'll try to line it up with where we are now on these storms, because that's exactly what I did. I went through and I adjusted everything. So here we are. So at 9, I need to go back to 8 o'clock here. So at 8 o'clock, we'll call this 8:30. I'm going to line these storms up with where they actually are. Right now. So we take this to about 8:30. Move it a little east and adjust that south. Then we go through this, and we're going to get a better idea. Again, this is the way I'm using the model data, and where it hasn't been accurate, I kind of fast forward to put it where it is more accurate. And notice how this goes like that. So notice that right turn. It is going to feed. Again, storms are lazy. They like to go where the highest instability is. They feed into that unstable air. So that's why that dives to the south. And that secondary cluster of storms near Nashville may actually threaten the race towards the end of the race, unless they, because once this cluster, if it does move into Nashville, once it moves in there, I think the race will be called. They will probably have enough laps to call it. But that's the current thinking here, is the line of storms is going to take a right turn at some point. But we could still have strong gusty winds. And you notice in Huntsville and up into Middle Tennessee, it's still possible that outflow boundary, when you get these storms so energized and so much momentum built up, that wind keeps going. It's like a wave on the ocean or a wave on the lake. It keeps going, like on the boat behind you, the wake. The energy that produced that wake is gone, but the wave itself keeps going. So some of you are familiar with the, what are those boats? It's right off the tip of my tongue. Wake boats. See? The wake boats. So this is going to be like a big wake boat moving in, and we're still going to see gusty winds, but I don't think we're going to have the widespread severe weather east of I-65. So let's go back to the Doppler radar. I'll check out some of your questions here again. Oh, thank you for the stars, Samantha. What about Huntsville? I think I answered that. And again, I can't get really specific on where, and the problem with these storms is, again, they're feeding off that energy. And that's why the most unstable air is basically right in here. So they're going to feed into this, and then they're going to just drop southeast. But the wind will still be there, and there will still be thunderstorms, I believe, as we get even into Huntsville, Newmarket, East Limestone, probably over into northeast Alabama, but I don't think they're going to be as robust as what we're dealing with now. So let's go back in and take a look at these winds again. And there's usually one real concentrated area of significant wind, and that is headed east-south. That's the Ripley area, Baldwin. And we're kind of at that point where it's tracking more east-southeast. So this could be a real issue down here in Red Bay coming up. Phil Campbell Hackleberg, keeping an eye on that. Just trying to, it really hasn't showed its cards yet. Giles County, let's see. I mean, you're under the watch. You're kind of in the real northern edge of this. I won't say it won't happen, but I think it's less likely to happen there, especially as we see this turn. But having said that, we do have severe thunderstorm warnings coming out for the Henderson area as well. Since some of you might be watching NASCAR and then me on your phone, let's start with an overview of what's going on to our north, and notice this split here. New severe thunderstorm watch up here near Paducah. This is all tied to a cold front. Tornado watch in central Kentucky, but nothing really threatening Nashville now. It's probably at least a couple of hours away. I can't say there's no tornado threat, but I will say that some of these storms could be capable of winds equal to low-end tornado, especially this area here. It's moving into Baldwin here, and this is in Mississippi. And the leading edge of these storms is really pretty nasty, coming in from the west. Do I have a favorite NASCAR driver? I really don't. I don't know who they are anymore. Most of them, anyway. I like Brad Keselowski. But there's some spunky drivers in there now. And they've been having some fights. They've been actually racing lately, so I do like that. Will Waterloo? Yeah, I think Waterloo's going to get hit with these storms. The challenge here, as we look at the radar, is these winds are blowing directly towards the radar, so we get a real good sample of that wind. We don't get a good sample of the wind here because it's blowing this way. The radar's down here. So I think we're going to start seeing severe thunderstorm warnings coming out now for Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin County within the next 5 minutes maybe. So let's get in closer here. So I mean, this looks kind of raggedy, but the problem is the radar doesn't sample it as well. There's a lot of wind energy in here. So let's go ahead and go here. High wind potential coming in. So Iuka around 8:30, so it's pretty much moving in there now. Walnut Grove 8:36, Waterloo 8:38, Tishomingo 8:40, Lime Kiln 8:42, Cherokee 8:46, Belmont 8:47, Grovelly Springs 8:48, Golden 8:49, Stewartville 8:49, Central Heights 8:55, Hines 9:04, the rest of the Shoals 9:04 to 9:05. I know I don't have areas farther south here. I will put you in, though. I'll leave that up just a little bit. This will be the last round. There won't be anything else coming in. Yes, Tuscumbia and Muscle Shoals, you will be hit. You're probably still going to see some thunderstorms in the Huntsville metro area. And Coleman, it'll be close as this dives. It may dive just west of you. If you're down at Smith Lake watching, get ready. It's going to be pretty bad once this hits Smith Lake, I imagine. Okay, let's check. I'm going to check some reports here. They canceled that tornado warning. Lots of damage coming from this line of storms. All right. It was extremely hot today in northwest Alabama. All right, I'll delete that storm track there. I'll get down here a little bit closer to the state line. More towards Russellville. Let's put this in motion here. The high wind, the highest impact for wind damage is probably going to be this area right here. And that's going to happen in the next 2 hours. And then it's out of here. This is coming through one shot. So let me get this here. So we got Red Bay just before 9 o'clock, Golden 8:48, Vine at 9 o'clock, Hodges 9:10, Russellville 9:10, Rockwood 9:13, Hackleburg, Phil Campbell around 9:20 or so. Again, you guys shouldn't focus on the tornado threat because we could have higher impact due to high wind at 70, maybe more miles per hour. I do expect power outages to be happening along the leading edge of this main area, but you notice how this area here from Baldwin to Saltillo, however you say that, is kind of sagging to the south, and that's where that area of highest wind also is. And it just keeps growing. So this is producing damage right now as it's moving through Baldwin, I would imagine. And then along the leading edge, we're probably going to see a lot of 40, 50 mile per hour winds getting ready to hit Cherokee. Okay, this from the Weather Service office. Corinth, Mississippi, gusted to 53 miles per hour. Okay, so they're not going with a warning yet. Yeah, the highest winds by far are right here. These are the probably hurricane force wind gusts coming through. Along the leading edge, there was a 53 mile an hour wind gust in Corinth, Mississippi, with this line of storms. So again, the radar probably isn't sampling as well up here on the north side. So we've had 50 mile per hour winds in Corinth. Those are probably about to hit Waterloo in the next 10 minutes or so. And 50 mile an hour winds can do damage. Sorry about that, I had to sneeze. All right. Power lines, irrigation pivot, irrigation blown over. And these are just more reports coming out. That was in Arkansas earlier. Let's see, that's as far as reports go there. And it's a Sunday night, may not get as many reports from some of these areas. And we've always had a tough time getting a lot of reports out of Mississippi as it is. Thank you. Man, I get back to Alabama for one day and I'm already sneezing. I thought I covered that up a lot better. I guess not. Now, let me get my eyeballs put back in, all right? All right, this is moving through. This is going to move through quickly. So while you see that watch that expires at 3 a.m., man, this is why these are so tough to forecast. This is obviously feeding southeast more into this instability, even though we may have some wind damage on the northern side, the northern end of it. All right, you know, I'm in this National Weather Service chat, and these emergency management operators never put what county they're in. They just have their code, so I never know what county these are coming from. Oh, looks like they had the radar go out somewhere. Where was that? NQA. Severe thunderstorm warning just issued for Colbert, Franklin, and Lauderdale County till 9 o'clock. Whoop. Till 9 o'clock. Okay, well, they're going to short fuse warning on that, looks like. All right, so severe thunderstorm warning just came out now for Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin County, and that should pop up here shortly. There it is. It's not northern Lauderdale County, so again, this is just this primary area here. Waterloo not included, but don't be surprised if you get 50-mile-an-hour winds there in Waterloo as this moves through. Yep. I don't see any tornado threat developing in there at all. But farther south, that's one of those, someone may say it's only a severe thunderstorm. Yeah, these are moving fast. Let me see the latest speed they've got these with. Severe thunderstorm warning for south central Lauderdale County, Colbert County, Franklin County, northwest Alabama. The hazard is 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Hail damage to vehicles is possible along the path of this storm. Locations impacted include, but not limited to, Florence, Muscle Shoals, Russellville, Sheffield, Tuscumbia, Red Bay, Cherokee, Littleville, Belgreen, and Vina. Storm is moving east at 65 miles per hour. So there's that forward speed increase. And this will be it, though, once this moves in. So your severe weather threat in the shoals will likely be over by 10 o'clock. So let's put this moving east at 60 miles per hour. I'm going to loop that. You know, there's so much heat energy out there. That's why we can get really big storm clusters like this this time of year after a real hot summer day. I'm probably going to have to back out of this. All right, so here are all these areas. And again, I put Waterloo in here because it's still possible you get some isolated damaging winds. The worst of it's going to be right in the middle and on the southern track of this. Waterloo 843, so it's about, it's moving in now basically to Waterloo. Okay, we've got tree down on Highway 370 west of Baldwin. I was mentioning Baldwin. Tree on a house. Again, these are all going to be coming out. Lightning striking a house in Lafayette County. Yeah, so lots of trees down, mainly out here in the far southwest. That's the highest impact, but we're still looking at trees down, possibly power outages as this storm moves through. Okay. Check my messages here. When will it hit Moulton? Just a sec. Watching from Savannah, Elk River. I'd like to be on the Elk River right now. Carrie, I don't see any really big hail there. Let me look at some other data here. Yeah, lots of that thunder just west of Florence. I think what may be happening, we're getting this little development out ahead of it. Right in here, we may have an outflow boundary already swinging through there. But here's the big picture. This is the beginning of a mesoscale convective system or complex. The hail threat, It's there, but most of that is going to be inside the warning area for us over there in the shoals. So I would expect probably, maybe not quite the monster hail we had earlier today. I'll get into the molten question in just a second. Yeah, some of you may get skipped completely today because we have that one area that was east and then the other area that's now west. And what can happen is as this area back here that's the most intense, as it drops southeast, it actually chokes off the northern part of the line, which may take some of the severity out of it. So let's track towards molten here. Let's do... I'll change this up in just a second. Starting off with Cherokee, just before 9, Red Bay 8:53, Vina 9 o'clock, Crooked Oak 9:05, Tuscumbia, Sheffield, Florence, Muscle Shoals around 9:05, Rockwood 9:10, Littleville 9:11, Russellville 9:12, and Leeton 9:14. I will start with Leeton on this one. Well, actually just... City select. So down the road here into Lawrence County, and again, this long of a track, there's no guarantee it's still going to be severe, but you want to know when's it going to get there. North Cortland 9:25, Hatton 9:25, Cortland itself, of course, 9:26, really kind of just a walk away from there. Moulton 9:34, Lawson 9:38, Trinity 9:39, and Speake just before 10 o'clock. Eventually, this may move into Morgan County at a weaker state, because once it crosses out of Lawrence County, the instability drops. That and the surge is going to track southeast. So that is that track for you right there. These storms back here, they're done. You kind of see the general trend here with the warnings. It's kind of like this. But again, I think at some point this is just going to drop southeast or almost due south. Let's see if any new model guidance has come out yet. I'm going to go with the new HER. So you're going to see me do the model data. Let's go in and that is the HER, I believe. Latest run of the HER. And let's do... Okay, I guess I don't have... That's all I have on there. File, save. Close that. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to eliminate all right, so here we go. Stopped on Scottsboro. I don't think you have much to worry about. Yeah, it's sped up because it's using a different model. So here's kind of the early afternoon stuff over dropping southeast. Notice how the HRRR model just completely misses some areas. But it does take this Nashville area and kind of drops it into far northeast Alabama to Chattanooga towards 3 o'clock. But I still think there's going to be some weakening there. So that's about, yeah, this is way off. This doesn't make any sense. Something must still be wrong here. Why is that doing that? That is completely wrong. That's not happening that way. Let me go in here and edit this data. That's just Completely wrong. There's no longer a tornado warning storm, but if you're in Hamilton, you may get some significant wind damage from that storm. Let's do something different here. That doesn't show me anything. Oh, there we go. Okay, so what this is doing, it's wrong too. Huh. I mean, that's been the struggle of local meteorologists here lately. It's because there's no way it's going to do what this says it's going to do. Let's do precip rate. Let's see if this IBM rapid update's good. Nope. Not at all. Longer range 4 kilometer. It's a little bit better, but it doesn't necessarily have that robust boundary, but it fades everything away pretty quick. And it has that Nashville complex moving east of us. So there's several variables coming in here. But that just, I think the line's going to weaken as it moves east of I-65. There's low confidence in that. From Athens, Decatur, Hartselle, east, low confidence of these bigger storms coming in. Make sure I've removed all of that stuff. Yeah, I have done. It's just weird how these models, I mean, the next hour they're wrong. Yeah, Killen, you guys are going to get potentially some rough weather over there as this comes in. But I'm probably 45, 50 mile an hour winds. The lightning's down a little bit. And that's going to be kind of the thing we'll watch is the lightning trend. And these storms here moving into northwest Alabama, they're kind of, again, tracking east, southeast. Let's see the velocity. Yeah, by far, pardon me, this is a big ball of wind, probably 70, maybe even 80 mile an hour gusts. And that is moving east, southeast. So let's track this. This is like the most dangerous part. This area right here. I need to go edit that because I don't have it going fast enough. So I'm going to move that speed up to 65 miles per hour or so. Spread that down there. Again, this may track even, I don't like that either. Let me delete that because I think it's going to track more like that. So Red Bay, you're likely going to see some isolated damaging winds there. It's going to be close in Hackleburg and also Phil Campbell. And we're looking at, a lot of this is just outside our viewing area, moving down to the Birmingham area. West side of Smith Lake, too. That'll be closer to probably 10 o'clock. So we got Vina there at 8:58, Hodges 9:05, Hamilton 9:09. That's coming up pretty quick if it's moving at 65 miles per hour, and if it's not, you're getting a big heads up. Winfield 9:26, Gewen 9:21. Yeah, I think they probably get the race in. No, I don't see a tornado threat there in Killen. I'll get into what, again, this is going to slowly move to the east towards the Huntsville metro area and weaken a bit, and it's still possible it's just going to dive to the south as well. So what we've got is an area of very high wind, and that area in blue. Yeah, these are probably easily 70 miles an hour. And as you get north of that, notice how they're not as high. But as I mentioned in the past, the wind speed isn't sampled very well by the radar up here to the north due to the fact that it's just basic physics here. This storm's moving closer towards the radar, the next rad there, and these winds are moving up here, so it's not going to be sampled very well. It's not straight into it, it's coming across. So still a chance of damaging winds with these storms in northwest Alabama. Holly Pond, I think you guys will be okay. Athens will probably be all right. This weather pattern is going to break down as we go into next week, and then it's just going to get hot with our typical thunderstorm chances. Let's check back in with the weather service. Okay, they have they're letting the severe thunderstorm warning expire for Colbert and Lauderdale and Franklin counties. So right now they're just below severe limits, it looks like. Oh, I hear stars. Thank you. Let's see here. Cypress Inn, Tennessee. The edge of the radar. Yeah, it looks like the worst of that's moved east of you. I haven't seen any reports of damage from Iuka or Corinth. Just strong gusty winds. I know we got some viewers in Waterloo, so we'll see if anyone can chime in to see what it's like there. Yeah, Russellville, still the threat of some damaging winds as this comes in. But overall, I will tell you, I like the trend I'm seeing on the radar for right now, but that could change as it moves east. Right now, it's entering the area that's probably the highest instability. And I'll get an update on that coming up here in a few minutes for the 9 o'clock observations. Look at a few other things here. You know, I thought I heard thunder too in Huntsville, but there's nothing on the radar. Huh. Could that have been an earthquake? Because I thought I just heard thunder. You never know. That's kind of what they sound like. But I didn't feel any rumble. And that'll show up on our app, too. Again, I'm just saying that. I don't know if it was or not. Oh, maybe it's fireworks, too. All right, so we'll see if that was an earthquake or not. Extremely high winds. Can you estimate those winds? Aaron, thanks. Well, thank you. Thank you for that report. Yeah, lots of fireworks out there. And it's Sunday night, 9 o'clock, but I don't think there was a whole display. Yeah, you're going to see these off in the distance quite a bit here. Let's take another look at velocity here. Yeah, the hail threat's higher south. There's still a possibility maybe of some pea to dime size hail with this storm south of Cherokee. But I think what's happening, it looks to me, see this area right in here? I think there is an outflow boundary coming out. So the storm's tracking east-southeast. What this outflow boundary does is it spreads out. It spreads out and it keeps the storm from sucking in the most unstable air because the wind's out ahead of it. So this is some good news we're watching here, but it could trigger new storms that may develop ahead. So this white line, that's where, if it was, you could probably see the shelf cloud with all the lightning out there. But as this moves east-southeast, it keeps the storms from ingesting the most unstable air. It's out by probably, roll my chair back. It's probably about 5 miles ahead of the main line of storms, and we'll probably see this line extend out even more. All right, thanks, Aaron. Pass that along. Okay. Yeah, the earthquake this morning, sometimes it takes them a while to register. Well, someone's wanting to know why this is going to hit a wall and turn south right before Decatur. Here's what's likely going to happen. As we switch this to that. The highest instability over time is going to focus itself right here. These storms want to turn into this highly unstable air. They don't want to cross where it's not favorable for continued development. So that's why, and the winds are out of the northwest in the upper levels, so that's the steering current basically. So they're going to drop in and move, all of a sudden drop southeast, and you're already seeing the trend here from Tupelo to the east. But at the same time, this gust of wind, the momentum that's currently there, that will continue on. So we could still see some strong gusty winds all along that line, but progressively weakening. This is like a wave coming out. That ripple gets lower and lower and lower the farther away you get. And it still has the potential to produce some isolated wind damage, but we're talking maybe 45 mile per hour, then down to 35 mile per hour. But what's yet to be seen is whether that'll trigger some new thunderstorms. If it does, they're probably not going to be severe. So this entire complex is going to start diving due southeast, and then maybe even due south-southeast. Let me know if you guys get any damage there in Red Bay. Continuous lightning. Okay, Crooked Oak area. Rogersville, you're going to get a lot of rain and a lot of wind. It'll probably be on the order of 40, maybe 45 miles per hour coming in. Basically about the flow of the current as it comes in. But these storms, they follow the energy. It's like bugs at night. There's been a lot of June bugs out there lately. My son's puppy was out running around, and catching them all. Guess that's better than eating dirt. That's what that dog does most of the time. But they are going to feed off. It'd be like this is another example for you. If you pour out gasoline and you light one end, it's going to take all the way down where that gasoline is. It's not going to deviate either side. It wants to go right where that fuel is. And basically, that's why we call it thunderstorm fuel. Oh, thanks, Brian. Okay. Pea-size hail in Red Bay. Okay. Let me know if it gets any worse over there. Yeah, that was in Red Bay. And again, that is right here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a new warning out for that Red Bay, basically this area right here towards Phil Campbell. Let's take a look at the wind velocity. Hey, right on the edge of that. Boy, that boundary is really coming out. This is that outflow boundary. I believe that's Cedar Creek Reservoir. Winds are probably picking up there around 40, 45 mile an hour. Rick, thank you. Priceville, I think it's going to be a close call. You're looking winds maybe 35, 45 mile an hour, heavy rain, lightning, but a majority of this is going to miss to the south. 5 laps left in the race, huh? This is Hydrofest, by the way, not tonight's race. I hope it doesn't go over. Or are there 5 laps left? I haven't even been watching. It's out of the corner of my eye. Let me go check it real quick. I can't even tell because this TV's so small. I got like a 13-inch TV over here at the key wall. I'd have to go watch that on the computer if I was going to get a better look, and I just might do that. Okay, so we're talking about the NASCAR race here. Well, yeah, they're definitely going to get it in. God, it's 9 o'clock. Man, I tell you what, I don't know if you heard about my day yesterday. Wind's calming down. Good deal. Well, what we have is a 13-inch TV to monitor what's going out over the air, but I have big, probably 48-inch TVs around me. Western Lauderdale County. I mean, we're looking at wind gusts around here, probably 40, 45 mile an hour, maybe even 50, as that wind energy's taken a while for it to slow down. But I don't see any severe wind gusts in here. The lightning's coming down. I think the higher threat for severe wind gusts right now is going to be Cedar Creek area, Reservoir, down here towards Red Bay, Phil Campbell, and probably Bankhead National Forest over time. Cortland, gusty winds, heavy rain, lightning, small hail. What's the red part ahead of the storms? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Let me put that up here. Now this has just intensified a little bit here, it looks like. Let's see what velocity looks like here. Yeah, we're good. It's just not enough helicity for tornadoes to form in here. But quite a bit of wind. And we're starting to, Starting to get some more higher indicators here along the leading edge. So what we've got going on here is if you go to the radar, it doesn't tell the whole story because there's an outflow boundary out ahead of it. So there's a big shelf cloud here that you probably can't see. See that? The heaviest rain is still back here to the west. So these strong gusty winds are moving east at probably 40 to 50 miles per hour. And then the heavier rain moves in behind it. So the strongest winds are going to be just ahead of the heavy rain and then right into the heavy rain. Quite a bit of lightning there in Red Bay too. Oh, thank you, Bobby. Yeah, green is towards the radar, but red is away, but that's not always the case. Because the wind is not south here. So what's going on is the radar doesn't sample it well. So it's going this way. And this wind is going this way. So the reason it looks that way is because the radar beam is coming up this way. And it hits the storms, and the wind is blowing across the radar beam. So all this wind is going from west to east. Now, on the leading edge, there's probably a south wind in there at some point. Yeah, I think I was wrong. I said coming north, but it's out of the south, but the dominant wind is going to be a crosswind from the radar beam. This wind here is blowing directly into the radar beam, so it's really easy to pick out how high it is, 70 mile an hour. There's widespread wind damage likely in Fulton. And this is tracking east-southeast, and it's probably going to end up just southwest of Hackleburg towards Hamilton. And the closer you get to the radar, the more ground truth you have to what's actually happening with the wind. But the gust front's already moving into Hamilton with on the back edge very heavy rain. So this, the most intense part of this storm here is basically going to end up going this way. And then over time that could choke off the northern edge of that storm, of the storms. When might you be in the clear? Depends on where you are. I mean, some areas are not going to have to deal with much of any severe weather tonight. I think the shoals will be cleared by 10 o'clock. I've never heard of that one. When red and green meet, get under the bed. Huh. Hazel green, I think you guys are going to be all right. Maybe some thunderstorms, gusty winds. Dog's already there. All right, yeah. So yesterday, I was up for like 38 hours because I had left the weather conference in Arizona, and I flew into. There's been so many flight delays across the country, and it's been crazy. But yeah, I get into Dulles, Washington, D.C. at 7 in the morning to catch my 8:30 flight to Huntsville. But that flight was canceled due to maintenance in Columbia, South Carolina on that plane. So again, I sat in D.C. for 8 hours, got to Huntsville International Airport around 3:30, I think it was. We landed around 3:30, but we were stuck on the plane on the tarmac for 50 minutes because there was no gate available for us. So I got to work like 12 minutes before the 5 o'clock newscast yesterday. So that was a crazy day. And then the 10 o'clock newscast got delayed because of the USFL football game. So yeah, I was up for 39 hours yesterday. Yeah, I need a company jet. That'd be nice. I think you're going to be all right in Arab. But, you know, just the craziness of the airline industry right now. And I feel bad for all the upfront workers who don't have anything to do with a lot of it. And I've heard some crazy stories too about how some flights, they don't, like say the tray table, something's malfunctioned with that. They have to have that all fixed and written off. So anyway, I was like, I'll just bring some duct tape, tape that up. So let me switch over here. I'm gonna, if we're talking about airlines and flight delays, the weather isn't as intense, so that's good. I know someone's gonna say, we still didn't get nothing over here. I'm prepared for it. So that's good news. Good news, good news, good news. All right, let's get this down here. I'm going to go in and adjust some of our camera shots here. I'm going to look west of the shoals here. Yeah, there's quite a bit of lightning over there. Let's get that going over here. Man, that is a strobe light over there in the shoals. I gotta find the right one. Here we go. Just continuous lightning going on there. And these are some of the things we don't quite detect always. That's the Singing River Bridge there, down with those red lights tower there. But, wow, powerful. We don't always get the cloud-to-cloud lightning picked up and detected. But we're definitely seeing, look at that. That's just pretty incredible. Oh, good old Glen Burns. Oh, the what about counter? Yeah, Brenda, yeah, we're looking at that lightning with you there in the shoals. It's just nonstop. Too soon on that one comment. Yeah, Dad taught me how to use duct tape. Yeah, we're looking at that. Man, that's just insane. And I think a lot of that, it's just because it's so hot. It was so hot today, and some people are like, that's heat lightning. And again, there's no such thing. The only reason people came up with the term heat lightning was because in the summertime, there's a lot of space between storms, and you don't always hear the thunder, but you see the lightning. And the other thing is the parabola for, I believe, the speed for sound waves, it's a parabola and it's temperature dependent as well. So that would make sense. Boy, that is a lot of lightning. So again, this is happening, moving in on the west side of town there in Florence. I'll get to the radar for you in a second. Yes, certainly more lightning than what shows up on the lightning tracker. So again, a lot of this is going to be intercloud lightning. That's looking out towards the Cox Creek Parkway, all those lights there. All right, we'll go back to radar. Let me know if you guys in western Lauderdale County have had any types of wind damage. I'm going to estimate winds are probably around 50 miles per hour. All right. So here's this storm coming in. Again, no warning out, but then there's just a lot of lightning with that storm. Just about ready to hit Sheffield and Tuscumbia. There are some strong gusty winds rippling along this line moving into the shoal, so some isolated wind damage can't be ruled out. You see that area flare up? I mean, that's 39, 40 mile an hour, but it could be a little higher than that at the surface. Again, this is all straight. It's all coming in from the west. And back here into the heavier rain. Central Heights area, maybe some smaller hail. High top, GWX. Yeah, not much showing up from GWX. We'll switch over to high top because this is going to be looking straight at this line of storms coming in. So we've got very heavy rain, strong gusty winds moving into Florence here. Pretty rough outside of Muscle. Would you estimate maybe 40? Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, we've had a camera out at the sheriff's office there in Russellville, but it's one of our older cameras, and it just doesn't do much. Okay, winds are picking up in Russellville. That's that outflow boundary coming in. You're probably looking at wind gusts around 45, maybe even 50 miles per hour. Let me switch back to GWX. I got this little peak of, boy, it's moving fast. This is probably 45, 50 mile an hour wind coming into Russellville. Power's off in Hodges. Thanks for that Central Heights report. And the Weather Service has special weather statements out along this line. But we're clearly starting to see the gust front here. And that is why these storms are not maintaining and being severe, is because all the wind's already gusting out of them. And then about probably 5 minutes after the heavy rain, after the wind, you get the heavy rain. Okay, we got 2 trees down in Owlsboro. Time estimated on radar. This is in southwest of Cherokee in Colbert County. We'll probably see some isolated trees down. That is right, April. Wind is bad in Florence. So again, we have a very strong wind coming in ahead of the main area of rain. The rain will pick up after the wind. Those wind gusts. Let's see if I can see some trees here in the Shoals camera. I don't have a very good angle here for wind. I don't think anyone's over at the splash pad right now. Oh, there are. There are people at the splash pad. Let me find that for you. Yep, people still at the splash pad over there in the Shoals. It's still on, too. And we got people over in here. Yeah, probably. And see, that's the challenge here with this, is that the wind is out ahead of the rain. Usually they're kind of combined, so you start running once you get hit by the rain. And of course, the lightning's kind of a threat, but it's not. A lot of this, again, is cloud-to-cloud lightning. And I'm going to zoom back out here. Now you can see the heavy rain there. Ooh, look at these clouds here. I don't think I can see it. Can't get a perfect view of them. But this is kind of the leading edge of these thunderstorms. Wow, that was big. Right there, wow. Yeah, what not to do with thunderstorms. I bet they're probably running from the splash pad after they saw that. Power out in parts of Tuscumbia. Thanks. Probably 40. I think we've got a lot of 40, 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts along the leading edge of this. Now, there is a thing as sheet lightning, ribbon lightning, those kind of things. But just look at the motion on these clouds here. We're going to get some more lightning here in just a second. I'm actually seeing the live feed and then before it hits our weather computer, so I'll be able to tell you when a good one's coming. You could probably tell me at home, too. Well, it's not. There comes a good one right here. Just as I started moving the camera. But off in the distance is where we have the very heavy rain that's moving into the west side of Muscle Shoals now. I'll switch you back to the radar and we'll get to doing some more storm tracking here. Correct. Yeah, you're getting these power flashes because the power lines are probably bouncing. No power in Hamilton. They're starting to replace some of these warnings over in Mississippi with special weather statements as well. So, strong thunderstorm here on the west side of Florence. Let's switch back to high top. Kind of get a different perspective of this. Phil Campbell, Hackleburg. This watch will not go until 3 o'clock for us. This watch will probably get let go by 11 o'clock tonight. So the worst of the weather's gone through Red Bay, and the worst of the wind is probably already through Russellville. So let's storm track here. I'm actually going to track the wind. I'm going to track this outflow boundary, and I'll push it east about 48 miles an hour. So this is when you can expect your winds to start picking up. Because even if the storms weaken, that wind is still there. And we're talking 35, 40 mile an hour winds. And it'll be, man, that was one crazy lightning strike there in the shoals. Whoa. Wish I could show that one to you. Rain's picking up. Man, that was intense. Very, very bright. All right, back to Facebook. I don't think you have much to worry about, Jesse, in Newmarket. Just some gusty winds. The line is weakening now, and it will weaken even more before it crosses I-65. No wind in Rogersville. Let's take a look at when you might expect the wind. So again, this is going to be Town Creek, 841, Speak, 1001, Trinity, 1003, Decatur around 1010, Tanner, 1013, Athens probably around 1011 as well. So Rogersville, that wall of wind is probably approaching Killen right now. I think it's probably right out here. So let me track this, if it'll let me. Whoops. So let's just put a track. Man, another just super bright lightning there. It's probably moving faster than that. Rogersville 946. So about 15 to 20 minutes from now, this is going to start moving into Rogersville. Rain's moving into Florence. Southern Middle Tennessee, I don't think you have anything to worry about from this round. Thanks, Lois. Zip City, the winds picked up. swing the camera around here. Oh, I'm looking in the wrong direction now. Okay. Whew. I think Zip City's right up here. Yeah, it's not showing up on my map. I'm going to go back to the camera over there real quick. See if we can't get a few more of these big lightning strikes. There's one right there. Man, didn't do any justice on the camera because it was so bright. You see these low clouds, they really illuminate when that lightning hits. Again, right over Wilson Dam. Okay, Lauderdale County EMA just reported a wind gust of 58 miles per hour at the Sportsplex in Florence and 45 mile per hour winds in downtown Florence. So 58 miles per hour is considered severe. So we just might get a severe thunderstorm warning because we've got a report that would be a severe thunderstorm. Rain's starting to pick up at our camera location. So again, this storm is we're probably going to have some wind damage with this. Those 58 mile an hour winds, that's where kind of the threshold is based on research where damage starts. Get away from that light. Now we're looking more northeast. Well, actually, we're looking back to the west. That camera moves around pretty quick. All right, back to the radar. So we've had a severe wind gust reported at the Sportsplex in Florence and 45 mile per hour in downtown Florence. Yeah, the atmosphere over northeast Alabama is really not supportive for thunderstorms tonight. So this is good. This won't be an overnight event. Rain's picking up in Russellville. That storm is really weakening in Russellville. From GWX. Man, that gust of wind is way out ahead of the line of storms. That's why. There's not a lot of wind shear. There's definitely not a lot of helicity out there, so these storms will continue to weaken. The worst of the weather is back here. And even in Hamilton, the lightning's way down, the boundary of storms is now basically here. So this line, I want to kind of, if you guys are watching down at Smith Lake, this line of gusty winds, it's moving in that direction there. We've got parts, and also Moulton. You could probably see this, again, probably 40, 45 mile per hour at that time. And this is what I mean by the radar. Man, the lightning just doesn't want to stop in Florence. This is going to be Guin 938, Double Springs 953, Kansas, Addison, Carbon Hill, Arley areas on the west side of Smith Lake around 10 o'clock. You can probably already see the line of storms off to your west, but then I don't think they're going to be severe coming in, but there will be strong gusty winds. So this threat for severe weather, look how quickly that's weakening on the backside. I mean, no, it's still got a lot of lightning with it, but it's interesting how high top is showing much more rain on the backside than GWX is. And I think it's because high top's looking higher into the storm. But still, that's not I mean, it's borderline severe. Back to Facebook. All right. Man, I was a little off on the time. Those winds are moving faster. Elgin, Rogersville area. Crazy wind, Hamilton, no power, intense lightning. Yeah, I think what we've got here is the momentum in these storms, this whole surge of wind, probably 10 miles ahead of the heavy rain, and it's just racing to the east. It's racing east probably at 65 miles an hour. You mentioned Hamilton, no power there. But again, these winds are out ahead of it. Green Hill. No redevelopment expected. Northwest Limestone County, I'd worry about 45, maybe 50 mile an hour winds as this comes in. Yep. Yeah, Killen, you're probably going to see your winds gusting now. Tree down, spruce pine on Highway 20. How large of a tree is that, Gigi? Spruce pine, just south of Russellville. Okay. Yeah, I wish I could watch this lightning from my back porch right now. I mean, that's what got me into weather. Just no, this is not going to be a derecho. This is a line echo wave pattern slash mesoscale convective system, and it's just going to dive southeast. And I'll kind of give you an example in a second. Huge lightning and thunder in Sheffield. Yeah, south of Pulaski, yeah. Weakness before molten, some, but... Okay, winds in Killen just started, yeah. It's going to get your attention, that's for sure. Let's see if we're getting... No, there's not going to be a tornado situation. And there's really not a strong low-level jet here with this either. This is a good old-fashioned summertime MCS. But the crazy weather pattern, these are usually north of us. Probably won't reach Gadsden. Hartselle, probably 35 mile an hour once this wind gets there. Thank you, Amanda. Brett, rest of the week just looks pretty hot, to be honest. And I was a little surprised. I mean, again, I've been out of town for a few days. It was 98 degrees out west. That was crazy. Here's your 10-day forecast. So we will cool off a little bit. It'll feel a little bit better Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think a better chance for storms tomorrow will be isolated in the morning. But we got a dry stretch of weather, but then it just gets hot. 95, 97, close to 100 late Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then, hey, guess what? Sunday, more thunderstorms. Record temperatures, I think if we see records this year, they're probably going to be late in the season, and that's going to be due to El Nino. El Nino currently getting a little bit stronger, and typically your El Nino, it's going to be hot late in the summer. We're going to be really ready for fall, and it's just going to be really hot, probably all the way through September. Wind is crazy in Phil Kimball, yep. It's almost like a tropical storm moving through with these winds. 4th of July, I haven't even looked out that far, but I can. Let's see what it says. I'll get you back to radar here in a second. Whoops, I don't want to forecast GIF. I want to forecast loop. Okay. Okay, the weather gets active again by next weekend. Oh, the 4th of July. Man, is that showing up on my 10-day forecast and I'm not showing it yet? I can't keep up. 4th of July is Tuesday. Sure does. It's right there, Tuesday. 60% chance of showers and storms. Trash pandas are in town too, so let me go ahead and edit this real quick. Right now, a chance of isolated storms, which is, and I don't see anything too crazy. But, I mean, eventually, you know, we get these isolated storms. We'll probably get into more of that pattern here over the coming weeks. And some of those storms can still be on the strong side. So let me take that out. And I'm going to add holiday there. Okay, come on, give me holidays. Holiday. Government holiday. Fourth of July. There we go. Close. All right, so there's your 4th of July. Maybe 85. I mean, it's hard to go. Let me look at what the model guidance has. I mean, temperature-wise. Certainly hot. Oh, good grief. That's not for us, that good grief. That's for this Wednesday out in the plains. 113 along the Red River Valley of Texas. 108 Tulsa. 107 Oklahoma City. Shreveport, 107. Brutal. Oh, but we get our own little taste as we go into, man, it's got 103 in Tupelo, 100 in Nashville this Thursday. So it is going to get hot here later this week. The hottest weather we've had all season's coming. And then probably running at 100 degrees Friday. Oh, yeah, models are going 100. I'm probably going to change this. Good night. Close to 100 here Saturday is what the model's showing. So I'm going to update this. 101 in Nashville. 103 Birmingham Saturday. And then I think we see more humidity and storm chances coming in there next Tuesday for the 4th of July. 86 may be just a little bit of a stretch there. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to switch you guys over the radar just so you're probably like, I don't care about this right now. So, whoops, radar. I did weather 48 into weather 48. That probably looked really bad. So what I'm going to do is change our forecast high to 100 Friday. I think it's going to be really hot. Okay, so enjoy this cooler stretch here. I'm going to go about 90, 99 Thursday. It's going to be hot. We're probably going to see heat advisories. These overnight lows need adjusted bad. Again, I'm going here and I'm updating everything on the weather app. Got a show coming up here in about 18 minutes. And I'll probably be able to get out of here on time tonight because I think they're going to start canceling some of this watch. Sunday night, 91. Okay, publish. Oh, great, it's not updating. This same problem we had in the past. Well, that's not fun. Oh, software issue it looks like. Let me go through and make sure I saved it. So we got one severe thunderstorm warning. Still a lot of lightning with some of these storms. Still that gusty wind, but this is dying fast. The worst of the weather is down here. And this isn't even going to survive back here to the west. So this is some really good news here. High top radar. Yeah, so I think we're going to be good. But I got to figure out why this isn't updating. I've got a few checked boxes. Okay. So I'm just going to edit it manually then. Oh, there it is. Good. I must have had some boxes unchecked. So I will give you the exclusive look at the 10-day forecast here. There's my changes. I'm going 99 Thursday, 100 Friday, morning lows, mid-70s, close to 100 Saturday. Sunday we drop. We get more humidity. I'm still going to leave 4th of July the way it is, but it'll depend on the humidity in the air. And I got to tell you, I was in Phoenix for that weather conference, and it was hot, but man, it felt better than today's weather here. It was like 104, 105, but the humidity was low. And at night, man, it felt great. You going to catch any rain? Man, Rogersville, it's shutting off. So we've got, did the live stop? Nope. Hope not. Air's thick, yeah. Trash cans blowing in the wind. Yep, Phil Campbell, 101, 102 Friday. Close to the state line, it's going to be a little hotter. And yeah, this is that hot with humidity. So again, the front's coming in tonight. That's kind of what's fueling some of these storms. And then it's going to get hot. I'm going to go even further here. I'm going to edit this one more. We're going to put out a developing 48 alert for heat. That's brutal. Yeah, because heat is actually, it is a killer. It's underrated, and it's coming in fairly quickly, too. Let's see what day that is. There's Friday, just like that. High heat. Dangerous heat coming Thursday and Friday. All right, back to the radar real quick. And then I've got to get a few other things done, and then I'm going to sign off. Yeah, it's over in Florence. I think it's pretty much. Storms, Veronica, this weekend are probably going to be just scattered showers and storms. We're going to get more into a scattered shower and thunderstorm forecast format. So we'll just call it that. I'm going to sign off here. Coming up here in 13 minutes, we got our 10 o'clock newscast on WAFF. I do not anticipate this threat going on much longer tonight. In fact, they're probably going to be, I think they're going to drop this watch early. They're going to have to. It's not going till 3. I don't even see the threat going through midnight. So they're going to be discussing when they're going to drop this watch. All right, we'll talk about that tonight at 10. Hopefully by 10, they'll drop the watch, and we can all go to bed, right?